Who's the most interesting team in the top 8 to you?
Most interesting team is probably the Colts because they check in at number 5. No real reason. There's just no real weakness along here. And if Quentin Nelson really takes a step towards generational, dominant, every down, Braden Smith, if he improves upon his rookie season, you not only don't have any holes, you have 5 starters that are legitimately. They have the potential of all these teams in this top 8 to leapfrog way up to the top and be the number 1 in this group.
And this is like the best case scenario for the Atlanta Falcons. You get your 2 rookies, and both of them play, really well.
Yeah.
Obviously Quentin Nelson, he ended up playing essentially at a Pro Bowl level right off the gate. But as we said, this generational best guard we've ever seen. But Braden Smith played really well as a right tackle coming in as well. So I guess if you got 2 rookies and they played somewhere in the range of Braden Smith, Quentin Nelson, somewhere in the middle between those 2, that's about as well as you could possibly expect that to go for the Falcons. Yeah, but year 2 is where you start to see it really pay off. Now you've got Nelson, who may end up being the best guard in the NFL this year. You got Braden Smith, who could not just play well for a rookie, but could play well overall and be a good right tackle. Now you have an offensive line, A, with 0 holes, which is the first goal, right? Just get no weakness. And B, now your kind of baseline of the 5, your average, your mean is actually good.
It's growing.
Yeah, now you're actually getting 5 good players across the board. Now you're starting to approach those Dallas Cowboys offensive lines of the past few years where they had 3 All-Pros and 2 guys that weren't weaknesses, and you just dominated people. So, yeah, things could be pretty exciting for the Colts.
I also want to see if the Cowboys, Travis Frederick, is he back to what we saw, the player from a couple of years ago. And now a center, probably one of the least valuable positions on the offensive line. They still had a very good offensive line without him just because they were solid at tackle, and Zach Martin at guard as well. So I do think, are they going to get back to there? Is Connor Williams in year 2 going to make that leap that we've talked about from year 1 to year 2? Because if so, if Connor Williams takes a step forward, Travis Frederick's back to his best, this could be the best Cowboys line we've seen since, the DeMarco Murray era back then.
And then let's at least mention the best offensive line in the NFL, the team that we have at top again, is the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, we took a load of crap when we first ranked the Eagles as our number 1 offensive line. Probably, was it like 2 years ago?
2 years ago, the year before they went.
2 years ago, heading into the year, wasn't it? It was this offensive line rankings 2 years ago. And essentially we saw it coming. We said, look, this on paper looks dominant.
Yeah.
If they finally play up to this level, they will be the best offensive line in the NFL, and they developed into that. What's impressive now is that they have essentially the same group, and then the only real question mark is what they do at left guard, whether it's Wisniewski, whether it's Seumalo playing there. They're giving the shot again to Seumalo to essentially win the job, with the understanding that if he can't, they can just throw Wisniewski back out there and have a reasonable left guard.
No, they basically, if a guy's not playing well there, they've flipped him in the past. So.
Right. And then
it's again not necessarily a liability, just not quite up to par with the rest of the line.
Right, and I think, but that's their thing, right? They know that Seumalo has the higher upside than Wisniewski, so we'll give him a shot to prove he can be a better player. And if he does end up being a liability, being the weak link, they know Wisniewski won't be that, so they'll throw him back out there. But the other thing is, so Jason Peters has been one of the best left tackles in the league for a long time now, but he's getting up there in age. He's starting to break down physically. We're missing games because he gets injured. Now they have a contingency plan. They draft Andre Dillard high in this draft, who was arguably the best pass blocking left tackle in this entire draft. So now, even if they lose a Jason Peters to the season, which would be a big criticism of Dallas Cowboys fans, for example, be like, well, if Jason Peters goes down for half the year again, then they won't be. Now they've got a backup plan better than Vaitai,
and it. Probably just with what we've seen from Peters in recent years, he's going to miss games.
Right.
He's going to get hurt. He's going to be an issue. It's impossible to stay healthy at his age at this point, 37 years old. So I do think, though, Andre Dillard was, like you mentioned, the most NFL ready in terms of pass protection. We say it's tough for rookies to hit the ground running, but I don't think he'll be a liability if thrown, to the fire.
Right. So there we go. That's our run through the offensive lines. Obviously, we didn't hit every team, but you can find out our take on every team and where they ranked on PFF.com. The offensive line rankings are still on the front page, I think somewhere along the lines. You'll find them. Dig it out. You'll be able to discover it. It's not that hard.